Your second question was, real quick.
Any particular, what are kind of some particular issues that are obstacles for repentance and revival today? That's a broad one.
No, well, yeah. I mean, here's this. I don't know if it's an obstacle. The average professing evangelical, I think now, young single person is having sex outside of marriage, probably. And what they'll usually say is, well, I know it's probably wrong, and then ... onto something else. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful candidate for conviction of sin, a person like that. And I think you do have to talk about that. But you have to be extraordinarily careful because the culture wants to paint us as anti-sex. So if you're going to talk about sex in a way that convicts people of sin there, and I think a lot of Christians, I would say there's a lot of people who, in order for them, sleepy Christians, to wake up and become really renewed, they're going to have to deal with that, with the fact they're having sex outside of marriage. So you have to teach about sex in a way that's not prudish, that shows a certain, but also not lascivious and, smarmy and, look, I'm so cool because I can make, I can crack dirty jokes. You really have to be very careful how you preach about sex in such a way that it's clear that you are not, frankly, uptight about it yourself, that you've actually got a wonderful vision of what sexuality can be, that you don't talk about it too much or too little. But then in the process, I think you can convict some people of sin. I'll just tell you one other example. A minister told me years ago about something he used to do with college students. I've tried it a couple times, but it's almost too brutal in person, but it has worked every time. That when you have some college student that comes home from college and you say to him or her, how's it going in college? And they say, well, all right. And they say, well, come on by and talk to me. So you're sitting there, in the pastor's study. This is usually a kid that grew up, in a youth group, etc. And you say, how's it going? Well, I don't know. I'm having doubts. Well, why? Well, I took a course on religion. And, they said this and that about the Bible. And I don't know. Are you going to church there? No. Are you going to a campus ministry? No. I'm just having a lot of doubts. I'm not sure. It doesn't feel real to me. So, who are you sleeping with? And what's intriguing about that question, by the way, the minister said that almost always the person's face falls and says, look, if you're hurting your conscience, of course God's going to get less and less real to you. You're hurting your conscience. You're hurting your assurance. And in some ways, your heart is so self-justifying that it kind of wants to have doubts now. Aldous Huxley has an autobiography, basically, in which he admitted the fact that he didn't want to believe in God because he wanted to have sex with whoever he wanted to have sex with. And so I do think that's, is that an area we're going to have to talk to? Yeah, of course we have to talk to it. Is it a place in which there's a lot of spiritual power draining right out the back door of our churches? Yeah, in their lives they're not. And yet at the same time, you have to do it in such a way that, and I don't see it done very well. Usually either younger evangelical pastors want to show that I am not at all afraid to talk about sex, and they make everybody squirm, even hip people squirm, because they're trying to show how completely at ease they are talking about the subject. Don't do that. But at the same time, you've got to do it in a way that really lifts up a Christian view of sexuality that is sex, which is not a consumer good. Sex, which is a way of giving yourself away. It's a means of self-donation and not just a way of getting fulfillment and dealing with your insecurity. And I think you can do that in a way that doesn't just say, you're just sinning against the law of God. Yes, you do have to say it's sinning against the law of God, but I think you can also humble people by just unmasking them. So it is a big area that we're going to have to talk about, or we're not going to see revival.